Speaker for the morning. We have Anurag Acharya, a distinguished engineer at Google. He is a co-creator of Google Scholar, the widely used scholarly search service. Previously, he led the web search indexing group at Google. He has a bachelor's in computer science from IIT Kharagpur and a PhD in computer science from Carnegie Mellon. Prior to joining Google, he was a postdoctoral researcher at the University of Maryland, College Park, and an assistant professor at the University of California, Santa Barbara. He'll be doing his presentation remotely. So we have Ashwini Sharma, Head of University Relations, Google, who will be coordinating the presentation locally. Over to you.
Anurag, you can begin. I'll just put up the slides.
Okay. Go ahead. Let me know when the slides are up. Excellent. Ashwini. Speaking about the nitty-gritty, the details that goes in building a comprehensive search service. As Professor Gupta mentioned, I, along with Alex Werstack, are building Google Scholar for the last 14 years. Google Scholar is to provide a single comprehensive index for all scholarships. It's a wonderful thing if you can try to do it, but on the way to the forum, there are many things that need to be dealt with, largely because fields have never before unclosed. Anyway, we shall see as we go what challenges that brings. Next slide, please. So this will give you a quick overview of where I'm going to go. I will go over some of the common sources of errors that a scholarly search service has to deal with. There are processes in the scholarly communication mechanism, scholarly communication ecosystem, and amplify errors. I will be presenting some of them, examples. Next, I will talk about some effective approaches for trying to deal with these errors. How do you actually build a usable service in the presence of a large level of errors? Finally, I will instantiate this in the context of a particularly noisy problem, which those of you who have looked at scholarly search or related issues will recognize immediately. Who has written which papers? Can I, given an author, can I find what papers she has written? Next slide, please. As I briefly alluded to when I started, one of the significant challenges that building a comprehensive index brings here is that every single thing you are bringing together has never expected to be a part of a large collection. Every publisher, every library, every repository, everyone has taken different shortcuts, different hacks, different errors. And by bringing all of them together, create a job to overwhelm your efforts to build a useful service. Looking at it from a different angle, a comprehensive index covers diverse fields. Like I mentioned in social science, are fundamentally different from high-energy physics. In mathematics, from medicine. Each of them may well be consistent, but they have never expected to be in the same place. Bringing them together requires you, as a search service builder, to somehow figure out a mechanism to normalize, to standardize across all of these conflicts. Next slide, please. Yet another way of looking at the sources of issues is a comprehensive index will cover many languages. Each language brings its own conventions, its own mechanisms of how its entities are referred to. Cultures have different ways of naming things, different ways of referring to things. And when you're trying to build a common search service, you need to be able to reliably resolve these references to each other. All of these are issues that in some sense I have brought upon myself by creating the task of building a comprehensive index. But there are some problems that the publication process has inherently created for itself over the years. Most of the publication mechanisms were built in a time when everything, all publications had to be shipped physically. That generated a premium for brevity. Names would be shortened, journals would be shortened, every reference would be, you would try to make it as concise as possible to save a few more pages of paper. The result of this is long-term ambiguity, which is your challenge if you want to undertake it, to figure out some way of resolving. In addition to this, all of us authors are very careful when we write about ourselves. When we write about other people, when we cite other people, we refer to their work. Our level of care varies greatly. Sometimes intentionally, sometimes not intentionally, but as an aggregate, the collection of sloppiness by itself will end up being a large set. Finally, there is also just plain wrong data. People cite wrong things. Even publishers and libraries will refer to the wrong item in what is considered to be the canonical source of information. Next slide, please. Looking at the scholarly publishing of the scholarly, there are several processes that inherently generate errors. One of the particular ones I would like to highlight are the overly concise citation styles. I invite you to look at the citation. This is a fair citation in today a physics journal. 50 to 60 years ago, these were common citation styles. Please look at this and tell me which of this is a page number, which of this is a year, and which journal this could possibly refer to. Now, if the author gets any one of these fields wrong, good luck trying to figure out what was actually intended. The conciseness makes it extremely hard to either identify errors or to recover them. Authors, of course, since they have a page limit of 12 pages, 14 pages, 16 pages, they try to get creative to pack these reference lists in as small a space as they possibly can. So what we see the gamut of entire set of errors. Authors, titles, names, translations, you name it, you see it. In Islam, there's a 99 names of God. We have seen more than 900 ways to refer to a single journal, the proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. Next slide, please. Another common mechanism that generates errors is unfamiliarity with cultural norms. Different naming mechanisms around the world have carried the norms of their cultures the people come from. Consider a child's Spanish name, Juan Martinez Gomez. Here, Martinez is the father's last name. Gomez is the mother's last name. And in like a suitable patriarchal society, if you are going to abbreviate this, you are going to keep the father's last name, in which case, the first last name. So you can abbreviate this as J. Martinez Gomez or J. Martinez. However, if you are coming from a different background and did not have this insight into the structure of Spanish names, you could abbreviate this as J.P. Gomez or J. Gomez, and you would be wrong. Other papers by this author would be abbreviated everywhere. And then good luck if you figure out this is the same person. Next slide, please. We just saw the Spanish names. So just let's go over to the next country, Portugal. A name Jose Eduardo Tavares Silva. Here Silva is the father's last name, and Tavares is the mother's last name. So the father's last name comes at the end, and the mother's last name comes before that. And again, like the patriarchal society, you can drop the mother's last name. There's a whole variety of ways in which you can write this. Some of these will be used by people in the culture. Some of these will be used by people elsewhere. You can look at these and see if these names and Spanish names are both abbreviated as an Anglo-Saxon person would. The likelihood of being able to resolve them is pretty large. Next slide, please. These are yet names that are in the same script. Many languages use other scripts. The cultures have different distribution of names. So the transliteration of names combined with abbreviation loses so much information. Chinese last names cover 95% of the population, and just 3 Korean last names cover about 50%. The publication process will convert these names from their original scripts to a first edition last name. 3 Korean last names, 26 editions. That is the set of buckets you have for 50% of the population. No surprise that these names are inherently ambiguous. Just to give you an example, if you preserve the naming of it, even Chinese names provide significant discrimination. It is the process of converting them to a Latin script and then to abbreviate them that we have created the task of trying to disambiguate in a population that is a little bit difficult to differentiate. Next slide, please. Those were just what the names are. Next is how the names are presented. Let's look at the first example. J.E. Smith and W.U. Huyken. Which of these is the first name? Which of these is the first name? Which of these are initials? And which of this is the last name? Reality is J.E. Smith being a Western European name. J.E. is initial. Smith is last name. And Wu Huyken, Wu is the last name. Huyken is the first name. And names, last names are indeed written capitalized. To be able to figure this out on the fly in the challenge. And of course, this audience will definitely be familiar with the name variation that happens in some parts of India. Sundar's name, of course, when he was at Kharagpur, was P. Sundar. Today, he is widely known as Sundar Pichai. Another variation in terms of Asian names is that Asian names don't have middle names. However, they have two-syllable first names and a one-syllable last name. So a Kaifu name is actually Kaifu as the first name and Lee as the last name. This is not, if this was a Latin name, then you would say middle name we can drop is probably the same as the first name, last name. However, if somebody is actually called Kai Lee, that is a different person from Kaifu Lee. It's sort of like John Smith and Jack Smith, which technically are not the same name. Now, in some citation styles, you can end up with different name orders in a single citation. The first author is last name first. Rest of the authors are first name first. To be able to figure out which order it is so that you can see what name it is, needs you to understand which names can be structured how and which citation style is likely to be used here. One of the mechanisms one can use, one of the entities one can use in trying to disambiguate names, for example, is affiliation. However, affiliations are worse. Since nobody really pays as much attention to their affiliation as to their name. My name, of course, is the most important thing about anything in the paper anyways. They tend to pack it in as so tightly as they possibly can. The departments of biology, chemistry, and rheology, good luck trying to see which associates with which of the authors. And if you say USC, which USC? The University of Southern California, Carolina, or many of the other USCs that are there around the world. Next slide, please. And finally, there's a desire among people who keep track of things. This includes publishers, libraries, repositories, databases, everybody, is that something is better than nothing. Not having a field seems like we are lacking. If we have something, it is good. However, what we're doing actually is to insert an error. We are inserting the error in an assertive fashion, in an assertion which then later on becomes really hard to figure out whether it is a valid input or whether this is a placeholder that you have put in. Common things we have seen is that if you don't know when it was published, you use the date that you happen to get a copy of. Advisors are included as contributors on theses pretty commonly. The number of complaints I've seen about this, oh my God. Next slide, please. So those are some of the processes that generate errors. If we were only dealing with generation, we may have had some harm. But there are processes inherent in how people write papers, how papers are published, how they are communicated, that amplify these. Very common for people who have written papers is to cite a reference directly from the bibliography. Somebody else cited it this way. They are citing to refer to a given topic. I copied over, I put it in my own bibliography section. Or I use the BibTeX file that my advisor gave me. Or I get it from a given search service, which has already accumulated errors. Errors as they propagate. They propagate in perfect state. You have, as I pointed out here, I've seen cases with more than 200 citations from 200 different papers, all identical. It's actually, at this point, far less citations that are correct. At that point, frequencies don't help you. Ground truth doesn't exist. Trying to figure out what the right thing is a fun game. Next one. And then those of us who build aggregation systems, myself, the others on the panel of today, and everyone else in the audience who's building digital libraries, will aggregate collections. And there are obvious issues with aggregation, both being too aggressive and not being aggressive. The most common scenario is to not normalize it. Take things as they are, because you don't often have enough evidence to do a good job of normalization. Popular books like Computers and Intractability, a very popular book on what kinds of problems have efficient solutions, have hundreds of their users. It's like two authors and a short name. So you can achieve this giant book. Popular conferences have thousands. Next slide, please. And if you go at the other end, saying, well, let me remove duplicates to the extent I can, you conflate distinct entity. And once the distinction is lost, downstream systems have very little hope of being able to recover. All future computation, all derived data is then tamed. This aggregate data is often then released and used by others, get back into the public input process, and on the cycle goes. Next slide, please. So what do we do? That's all pretty doom and gloom. So I will describe some of the approaches that we have used to deal with errors, to build a noise-resistant system. First, and this, I think people were surprised when I described this initially, is to preserve all source data. There is no canonical data set behind Google Scholar. You just do entire recomputation periodically. You expect to refresh what you consider as true every so often. The problem with trying to canonical data set is you have made decisions. And in the process of making decisions, you have lost whatever information that might let you, the redundancy that might let you recover from those decisions. Periodic recomputation allows global improvements like new algorithms, new data, new ways of cross-checking to apply, so that your service gets better and better over time. If it doesn't handle all the errors today, maybe it will handle some more tomorrow and the point later. Maybe later points, can you go to the next slide, please? The second approach that we have taken is to look for things that may be problematic. And a common approach there is to compute frequency statistics for every component possible. We explicitly add monitoring in your system for outliers and large movements. For example, if a title occurs for too many papers, that title is probably wrong. You need to look at it, figure out whether the sets are wrong, figure out how best to eliminate those things, rather things all over again. Because we have seen that happen very often for many repositories, even for several publishers. If you see a single date for half of the papers on a given site, that is probably wrong. That is probably the date that they added those papers to the site. If a paper gets a very large number of new citations or loses a large number of new citations over a short period, that is probably wrong. You have to look for all the ways in which things may seem different from the expected distribution. This is where the comprehensive index might help you with all the downsides that you have when you're trying to conflate when you're trying to group different collections. The dataset size will help bring or the corpus a bit more visible. Next slide, please. The next approach was to propagate as much source data as late as possible. In compiler sense, it is sort of late binding. Avoid committing to canonical values early in processing, because later stages may have a broader view. They may be able to say, hey, in this context, this data doesn't look right. Maybe this other value, which probably seems a little less frequent, may be the right one. You'll see examples how where this mechanism gives us benefits. In this day, black box models with machine learning are very popular. General purpose black box models, for those of you who have tried to deal with them, can be tricky to diagnose. When things are not going right, what to tweak takes a fair bit of effort to deal with. But the approach we have taken is to build domain-specific glass box models, know what's going on. We leverage our knowledge of the scholarly space to be able to do a better job and to be able to figure out when things go wrong and to fix. Next slide, please. The last two, one of them is obvious. I've been talking about this all this while. To design explicitly for linguistic and cultural variation. This is often an afterthought. You build for English and you worry about everything else afterwards. But by the time you do that, you've already built your data structure in a way that makes handling other languages harder. For example, if you require initials, well, you don't work for Chinese. The other mechanism, which is actually a widely used idea, is to use multi-component mutual support. You allow for support from different components from a common source to resolve ambiguity across both of the components. One component across the corpus, hopefully you can resolve some of the ambiguity. Once you have done that, use that data to resolve the ambiguity in the first component. Next slide, please. I'm going to switch mode and go over an example and show how to instantiate some of this idea. Author disambiguation approach is a problem that people have dealt with for a long time. Our interaction with this is that it's a core component of scholars' author profiles. Scholar profiles uses author disambiguation to make profile setup quick and easy. Author disambiguation also makes it easy to maintain the profile by automating the updates. Next slide, please. To give you a feel for those of you who have not seen such profiles, here's a profile that Professor Taylor, who just won the Nobel Prize in Economics, has put together. As you can see, he has hundreds of papers. Do you think Professor Taylor would have the time or the inclination to input these hundreds of papers one by one? That's not likely. If you want to make it possible for Professor Taylor to put the profile together, you really need to be able to do a good job of figuring out which papers are his. Next slide, please. So what do? We built a statistical model, which is not surprising, grouping articles by authors in the same name. The features we take into account are the list of authors for all papers, the journals and conferences that these papers are published in, research areas, affiliations, co-authors, and the actual article text. We built a multi-dimensional model. Take along all of these features. The model is customized for each dimension. Our goal in this problem is to shoot for high precision and very good recall, not necessarily high recall. Next slide, please. And so the question, let me try to say more about the caveat at the end of the last slide. Many authors work in many areas. Their interests shift over time. They work with many co-authors. A long research life has many segments that are almost equal. Trying to group all of these together will end up overclustering, overgrouping papers that are not written by the same author. The approach we take is to allow groups that are different to remain separate. And we give up some recall to maintain a high level of precision. Next slide, please. So what do we then, how do we also apply? Here we bring human recognition to bear. Recognizing your own papers is a snap of a finger. You look at them and say, hey, those are mine. If you can make it trivially to recognize which group is yours, and to allow the author to pick many such groups, you can relatively easily collapse the ambiguity that you just created by giving up some. Next slide, please. So what does the human disambiguation do? There are actually two levels of disambiguation. First, what the model does is to say these papers are likely by the same author. So by the same John Smith, but not which John Smith. So when the human sets up the profile, they do two things. First, among all the John Smith groups, he selects the one that is good. Second, if needed, you can select multiple paper groups, and voila, we have arrived at a solution which allows the user in a few minutes to get the result of a high precision, high recall disambiguation. Next slide, please. We also make it easy for authors to remove and add individual articles. These choices are then fed back into the automated computation which further improves the precision recall for profile updates. Recall profile updates are automated. There is no further human intervention. So this mechanism allows us to achieve this automation by taking a very late stage processing, human processing, into account to be able to solve the overall problem. Next slide, please. How well does it work? There is a very large number of scholar profiles created worldwide. Very large number of authors with hundreds of papers. Our goal in building this was, if senior faculty can build their own profiles quickly themselves, then we believe we have succeeded. Most profiles take very little time, most profiles are automatically improved. Next slide, please. So what did we use? The idea that I mentioned was to preserve all source data. The author disambiguation is computed multiple times a week. We have a custom model that takes into account all the different variations and issues of name structure that I pointed out earlier in the talk. It takes into account the different styles of authorship that go into different fields. It avoids committing to canonical values. It tries to propagate as much of information to as late a byte as possible to allow the authors to do the final selection. And as is obvious, for anything to deal with human names, we have to design explicitly for linguistic and cultural variation. Next slide, please. So I want to leave you with just this thought. There is no such thing as clean data. There is noisy data, but there is less noisy data. Thank you.
Getting integrated with the Google Scholar, because they are trying to identify each individual author, whether that ORCID gets integrated into the Google Scholar and that's less noisy, becomes very less noisy data.
Were you able to hear the question, Anurag?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
Are you asserting that ORCID data is less noisy?
No,
Do you know that for a fact?
no, they say they have 3 million live ORCID identified, and which are of what you say, it's peculiar, like it distinguish different authors.
Right. Right. So you could let me try to get to that. So first of all, to be able to build, yes, we take ORCIDs when they are available to us. The second part of the answer is very few papers actually have ORCIDs associated with them. So for whatever yes, it is true that I think it is important to understand that ORCIDs inherently in of themselves will not necessarily solve your problem. Many authors have many ORCIDs. ORCID system has no mechanism today to resolve the situation where every institution you have been a part of has created an ORCID for you. You have created an ORCID every time you try to submit a paper and the paper said, the journal said, oh my God, you need an ORCID, and I don't remember the last. This ORCID is a great idea to help authors create some level of disambiguation. It is not yet, and probably will not be for the next 15, 20 years, the mechanism to solve the disambiguation problem yet.
Okay, thank you. Yes, there's one more question.
Hello Anurag, this is PPD. Certainly, great presentation. I have one question and comment, the way Google Scholar works, and as you have explained. Certainly, author profiles are a great idea, and we do get a big list of papers asking us as to whether I'm the author. And I mean, often that's not a small list. And even for a very small researchers like me, the list that I get, of probably having authored papers in genomics, in Sanskrit language and all that is still a big task. So authors do not get to do a good job in that. And the second question is, when you are relying on author to identify whether someone is the author of a paper, doesn't that inherently introduce new kind of noise, intentional or unintentional? I mean, like some malicious author could just decide to earn credit by pulling papers which are projected in their name. So is this really a very strong idea to make less noisy data?
Yeah, let me, I have lost track of the first question, so let me answer the second question. Once I'm done, you can maybe remind me what the first question was. So what PPT says is, you're letting authors claim groups of papers. What if people claim incorrectly? What if people claim papers that are not theirs? It's a good question. Keep in mind, the purpose of an author profile and scholarship is to present your work to your peer group. The peer group for every discipline is roughly the size of a conference. 300, 500, 1,000 people. It's the reputation that you are putting up there. If you do such a thing and you are caught, the reputation that you will acquire will carry through to you for a significant part of your professional life. The counter pressure, the social counter pressure that this creates has largely kept profiles free of the kind of spam that you just feared. If you remind me what your first question was, I'll be happy to answer that as well.
The first question was about the task that the authors have to do. Often the suggested list is too long. I mean, I get a list of about 100 papers, and probably only 2 of them are mine. So skimming through that whole list is not 5 minutes.
You're saying that the author disambiguation has failed for you. I apologize. Send me examples, we will fix it.
Okay. Partho and Das are bad combinations. I mean, there are just too many of them. P. Das, there's too many of P. Dases in the world. So that's probably the reason.
No, actually, that's not quite the case. Because you look at profiles around, most of the profiles actually have their own papers. Because
Okay.
any disambiguation system will have errors.
I'll send you the examples. Maybe there are some improvements that can be done. Sure. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Sure, Anurag.
Send me examples, and we will make sure that those issues get resolved.
Thank you, Anurag.
Because, yeah.
I think we are out of time, so we'll stop the Q&A here. Let's thank Anurag once more for his presentation. And thank you.
There's also a small memento for the speaker, which Ashwini will have to collect on behalf of Anurag.
I'll ship it to you, Anurag.
Thank you very much.
Just stay connected. Let me show it to you.
Okay.
This one? Okay. Here you go.
Thank you. All right.
Yes. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.